All right, here we go. Here we go. We are here Tuesday morning, November 25th. All right. All right. We got a wild week on our hands. Did the playoff machine yesterday, obviously. Had some wild basketball games last night. Got a couple of developing stories upcoming, especially with some of the coaching hires that are going to be there. And we got a big week. We got some stuff to go over. We have got some stuff to go over. So, number one, last night here in the NBA, somebody is going to have to step up and make a shot in most games. Somebody has to step up and be a leader. Will that leader please stand up for the Pacers right now? We have now lost the first two games to the Detroit Pistons. And last night, Jarris Walker went 8 of 10 from the field. TJ McConnell went 8 of 12. Not too bad, right? Not too shabby for the bench. Here's the problem. Nembhard went 4 of 14 and Mathurin went 3 of 13. And it doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good. The Pistons win last night 122 to 117. The Pistons are now 15 and 2. The Pacers are now 2 and 15. I really didn't think it was going to be this bad. I did not see this coming. But it's bad. It's bad. We played we were retro last night, old school uniforms, old school court. I actually loved the throwback look, and Pistons had the real jerseys on, the Piston jerseys, the green, the black, sharp jerseys. And we just didn't have any leadership. There isn't anything. So the Pistons win 122 to 117. The Toronto Raptors beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 110 to 99. The New York Knicks knocked off the Nets 113 to 100. The Miami Heat keep on rolling 106 to 102. The Denver Nuggets win 125 to 115 over the Grizzlies. The Blazers took out the Bucks without Giannis 115-103. Pelicans scored 143 points, beating the Chicago Bulls 143 to 130. Rockets beat the Suns 114 to 92. Golden State, even without Draymond and Kuminga, beat the Jazz 134 to 117. And the Sacramento Kings got a huge overtime win, beating the Timberwolves 117 to 112. In the National Hockey League, Tampa Bay Lightning beat the Philadelphia Flyers 3-0. The Devils knocked off the Red Wings 4-3. The Rangers beat the Blues 3-2. Washington Capitals won again 5-1 over the Blue Jackets. The Florida Panthers scored 8 goals in their win over Nashville last night, 8-3. Utah Mammoth beat the Vegas Knights 5-1. And the Kings beat the Senators 2-1. And in a rare occurrence, there were no overtime games. Shocked. Absolute shock. And then we get to whatever garbage we call last night's NFL game. And yes, I'm calling it garbage, and this was hard to watch. This past week in fantasy was really bad for a lot of people. Um, just very, very little consistency. But something about last night, number one, the interception, the second interception Bryce threw, there was holding on McMillan. He pulls his shoulder pad, slows up T-Mac. Very obvious, whatever. Interception. Brock Purdy threw two very bad interceptions. And the game yesterday was, in many aspects, it was just hard to watch. It really was. It was just hard to watch. I really don't know what to make of the 49ers. They're 8-4. Looked like absolute garbage last night. And I was thinking about this during the game. Their schedule was one of the easiest there across the league. They had one of the easiest schedules. Their remaining schedule is at the Browns, the Titans, at the Colts, Bears, and Seahawks. Now, I am gonna say they'll beat the Titans at home for sure. Don't sleep on the Browns. And it's because of what I'm seeing. Good defense on the road. They're just not the same. And last night is a game you felt like they should have been stomping on the Panthers' necks with how bad the Panthers' offense was. And there is a little bit of smoke and mirrors with the Panthers. I will admit that. But the reality is they are 6-6. Give them credit. Give Dave Canales credit. With Bryce Young, he is 6-6. He deserves all the credit in the world for what he's done. But when you look at the 49ers, the Panther defense played outstanding. They played really hard. They played aggressive. They kept that offense in the game. They really did. And I was rather impressed with them. But now we're looking at everything. And the way it looks right now, I don't know. Let's go down the divisions. Because this week is really, really weird. The Cleveland Browns are 3-8. The Cincinnati Bengals are 3-8. You probably know where I'm going with this. Could you imagine a world where Cleveland is the third best team in the division in a year that they don't have a quarterback and they outdo the Cincinnati Bengals? Just for kicks, what if Cincinnati loses to Baltimore and Cleveland beats the 49ers at home? California team going north. It's going to be cold. It will be cold. Purdy doesn't do great in cold. We know this. Cleveland could really, really, really they could screw up their draft position. Which means they're going to have to figure out who's going to be quarterback because you can't lead Myles Garrett on forever. You can't lean on Denzel Ward or Jerry Jeudy like that. Quinshon Judkins is a stud running back. You have to have a plan. Because now, looking at the league, looking at the current draft order, this is wild. I can't believe how everything is playing out. Just think about this. I can't believe how this is all playing, because you've got the Titans at 1 right now. They just drafted Cam Ward. The offensive line, I said yesterday, give them credit. They only lost by 6 to Seattle, and there were people that were getting nervous that somehow they would break the Seattle Seahawks and win the game. People were getting nervous. So you got the Tennessee Titans. Second is the New York Giants. Then you have the Saints, the Jets, and the Raiders. I fully believe in this scenario, the Jets would be tempted to stand pat. Why trade up in that position? The Giants don't need a quarterback. I want to see what Tyler is more at the end of the year with the Saints, but I don't think he's as big of a question mark. I like what I've seen. The interior of the offensive line needs a little help. You've got 2 solid tackles. The Jets need a quarterback, and I hate this. I hate this because if Fernando Mendoza ends up going to New York, I don't think it's going to be good for him. I'm not so sure Jackson Dart. It depends on who the Giants hire to replace everybody, or to replace Brian Daboll. That's when I'm going to figure out what it actually looks like. Because not every coach is going to be able to coach Jackson Dart. And that is a real issue. So looking at the draft right now, 6th place, 6th pick is the Cleveland Browns. 7th is the Commanders. 8th is the Bengals. 9th is the Cardinals. Those are all 3-8 football teams. I do believe the Cardinals win more. I do believe that. But the reality right now is this. Cincinnati doesn't need their quarterback. Washington doesn't need their quarterback. Arizona will probably trade theirs and figure out what to do. Miami's going to have to figure out what to do. The Rams are at 11, owning Atlanta's pick. The Vikings are going to have to figure out what they're going to do with quarterback. The end of this year just shows an entirely different side of the National Football League. Over half of the teams are still eligible easily, without a lot of work, for the playoffs. The AFC is going to be a mess until week 18. That's what I'm hoping. I am hoping for absolute pandemonium. You guys know this. I am always in favor of pandemonium. But let's take a second and look, because I think the coaches that are going to get fired are more clear now. Remember, we average 5 to 7, and we've already got 2. Brian Callahan from the Titans and Brian Daboll from the Giants. Kellen Moore is not going to get fired. I don't believe Aaron Glenn is going to get fired. Dan Quinn is definitely not going to get fired from Washington. Not a chance. Jonathan Gannon from Arizona, I believe if he can't pull out 2 or 3 wins, it's about a 95% chance he gets fired. If he only gets to 4 wins, I'll say it's about a 100% chance he gets fired. Zach Taylor, this is going to be weird. Joe Burrow comes back this Thursday. Zach Taylor is one of those odd ones where if Joe Burrow goes to the ownership and says, fire him or I'm going to request a trade, Taylor will be fired. Mike McDaniel, we know, is going to be out in Miami, and the Atlanta Falcons, I believe, are going to fire Raheem Morris. Arthur Blank has been patient enough. They should already, with the games and the offense that they have had, they should have already been in position to win the division, to where Kirk Cousins just kind of has to stay afloat, not really do a lot. So I do believe that Raheem Morris, Mike McDaniel, Zach Taylor, and Jonathan Gannon are all going to get fired. That gives us 6. Now you may be wondering, well, it's 5 to 7. What's your 7th? Watch for Mike Tomlin. I say this every year, but the Steelers had the division lead. The Ravens had only 2 wins. They have now won 5 in a row. They only had 1 win. Sorry. They were at 1 win. 1-5. They have now won 5 in a row and have passed the Pittsburgh Steelers in the division. If Pittsburgh goes from leading the division to falling out of the playoffs completely, it could be Tomlin's time. I still believe Sean McDermott could easily get fired as well. I do. And from what I'm hearing, there are just teams that are wanting to just get fresh blood, fresh ideas. And if you're the Buffalo Bills, I would go after Nick Saban in a heartbeat. Actually, if I'm the Bills, I'm going after a lot of people in a heartbeat. I'm going after somebody with some cred. I need somebody with credibility to come into Buffalo to bring an offensive coordinator, preferably Daboll. I mean, I am okay with the Bills hiring another defensive coach, especially one that's a lot more aggressive, if they hire Brian Daboll. I do believe Robert Saleh wouldn't be bad up there. I know he's done really good in San Francisco. He may not want another job. That's quite possible. Brian Flores from Minnesota. He's tough. He exudes that toughness. If he could get Daboll as well, maybe. The thing with Buffalo is I think you really need somebody that's got just an overarching view. They need a Mike Vrabel, a guy that really does understand football. So I think Nick Saban would be great for up there. Now here's something about this weekend. Lane Kiffin, the current head coach of the Ole Miss Running Rebels, has said his decision on his coaching future will come on Saturday, the day after they play the Egg Bowl, and still with a legitimate shot for the college football playoff. If Mississippi wins, they're in the playoff. If they lose, they could be out, but we'll see how that goes. This is going to potentially cause a huge ripple effect in college football. I said I would go over some of the games. I know I previewed a lot of them. I'm going to stay away from the Brian Kelly saga with LSU. His attorneys are trying to be, it's a bunch of garbage. Brian Kelly is hireable, but he screwed up at LSU. And it's that simple. It's that simple. What I'm looking at for this week, Mississippi plays Mississippi State. The line is 6.5 on the road. Is Lane Kiffin's looming decision going to trip up Ole Miss? That's what I need to know. Tonight we have the next installment of the college football rankings. We're going to know where all of these teams stand heading into the final week and what they have to do. On Friday alone, Mississippi, number 6 in the country, Mississippi State. Utah, currently number 12, at Kansas. Number 4, Georgia, at Georgia Tech. I am not counting out Georgia Tech. The 14.5-point spread, I don't know where that's coming from because Georgia hasn't destroyed anybody that isn't a cupcake. Come on. On the road, not really. They're in Mercedes-Benz. They're going to be comfortable. Georgia Tech and that Ramblin' Wreck, they play the Dogs hard. It's a rivalry game for a reason. Texas A&M and Texas, Friday night, is a huge game. I believe Texas is completely out. Texas A&M is currently ranked number 3 in the country. Indiana plays Purdue. They're ranked number 2, obviously. And Friday could usher in coaching changes that will affect the college football playoff. Steve Sarkisian at Texas is now having to answer questions about the NFL. The NFL wants Sarkisian. The NFL wants Lane Kiffin. The NFL wants Nick Saban. Here's a name now, after getting fired from the Raiders. Here's a name that's now into the head coaching carousel opportunity. Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly is not somebody you expected to have available. But when you look at all this now, and you look at these teams, and you're running through them, and you're going, okay, well, Penn State, he was what? He was UCLA, he was Oregon, he's been in Philly. And where could he go? I honestly think, really do. I honestly think pending Lane Kiffin's decision, Chip Kelly could take the other job between Florida and LSU. I really do. If he wants to go west, UCLA, Oregon State, Cal, Stanford are all open. But if he wants to go to a big school, and supposedly everything is kind of dry, the talent pool is evidently small. Virginia Tech already locking up James Franklin is huge. You've got all these other teams, they got to start making moves. And it's going to happen after this weekend. So, Lane Kiffin, his decision is going to come Saturday. I believe he needs to go to the NFL. And here is why. You can't pull a Bill Belichick. You cannot say yes to a team or be part of a team, Ole Miss, in the SEC and go coach another team in the SEC, Florida or LSU. That will hurt Lane Kiffin, and it will be messy. It will not be pretty. People in the SEC won't be happy with him. And the mantra, he could be done in college should he ever get fired from his position. Why? Because contrary to some belief, there is still a bro code. The SEC is all competing against each other. Why was it okay for Nick Saban then to leave LSU and go coach Alabama? Because he had the Dolphins in the. That's why. He got screwed over by the Miami athletic training staff, which hasn't gotten any better. And got stuck with Culpepper. And I think he would have been fine in the long run. But it was also Miami. At this point, I do. I believe Lane Kiffin needs to go to the NFL. He could coach Cam Ward in Tennessee. He could coach Jackson Dart with the Giants. I think Atlanta would be great for him, but Penix being out does hurt the look of that job. Lane Kiffin in Cincinnati, I think, would be fun. Lane Kiffin in Miami, boy, that'd be hilarious. Go to where Saban was. That'd be hilarious. I would laugh. The question is, and see, I don't blame the Raiders on Chip Kelly. The Raiders have already now fired 2 coaches, special teams coordinator and their offensive coordinator. It's not the year they were hoping to have. I get it. I don't think that team is. I mean, I thought they would have been. I really did, but that offensive line can't block. It seemingly can't block a leaf. Genti has had no room to run. And, you got Geno Smith, who still is just throwing interceptions. So I think Chip Kelly can get head coaching offers. I believe Brian Daboll can still get head coaching offers. Daboll is interested in Penn State. Where would Chip Kelly want to go? I mean, does Brian Callahan go to college? Take a team like Arkansas, Auburn. Take a team like Oregon State. Might as well try. This decision by Lane Kiffin is going to cause a ripple effect because you could have a team that makes the college football playoff not actually have a head coach. It won't be the players transferring that screws it up. It will be the coach transferring that screws the team up. That's wild. That's wild. So watch for that this weekend. On Saturday, obviously, we have Ohio State at Michigan. That line is 9.5 to the Buckeyes. I don't know why. Texas Tech is at West Virginia. Miami at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh coming off that big win against Georgia Tech. Don't sleep on the Pittsburgh Panthers. Just don't do it. Houston is at Baylor, Kentucky and Louisville in their rivalry game, Clemson at South Carolina. You got, let's see here, scroll down a little bit more. Nope, no big deal, no big deal, nobody. Oregon at Washington. Watch that game. That's more for seeding for Oregon. I think Oregon still gets in with a close loss to Washington because Washington's home field advantage is well known. So, but if it's ugly, I don't know. LSU plays Oklahoma. Then you've got Vanderbilt at Tennessee. Watch out for Vanderbilt to sneak into the college football playoff. Watch for Vandy. If they go to Tennessee and beat Tennessee in the rivalry game, they are ranked 14th right now. The committee, depending on Lane Kiffin's decision, could knock Ole Miss out of the playoff. People will be crying foul if that happens, but the reality is it would probably be the right move. If Lane Kiffin is still with Ole Miss, then there's no issue. You're going to put a head coachless team in the college football playoff. Those kids earned it. They worked hard. But that is really, really, really unfair to them. And that's why I hate what Lane Kiffin is doing. It's going to make his decision on Saturday. His team's in the playoff. I don't like this. And there are some people that like to laugh and be like, Lane is Lane. It's okay. No, it's not. It's disrespectful. Can we stop telling people it's okay to be disrespectful? Can we stop telling people it's okay to be a smart aleck? To be unprofessional? Good grief. I try to teach that to my kids every single day. Every day I have to remind them, be respectful to others. You don't have to say the smart aleck comment. It's not needed. Lane's that way. And I think Lane, if he makes this move in the SEC, people are going to be like, oh, that's a Lane move. Yeah, and he's going to basically extricate himself. It's not going to be pretty. He's going to put a bullseye on his back by every other team in the SEC then. His team's going to have the added pressure because they're coming after Lane. So I don't like it. I really don't. I don't like it. But watch for Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, I believe, with the way they've played this year, deserve the opportunity to be in the college football playoff. I really do. I really think they're a very good football team. They have played some really tough games, really close games, including their losses. If they beat Tennessee, I believe they should be in. Another top 25 win on the road, I believe Vanderbilt at that point in time should be in. Then we look at Missouri against Arkansas. Arkansas's last game without a head coach. Hopefully, Mike Norvell is being kept. I think I mentioned that. By the Florida State Seminoles. They play at Florida this week. Virginia Tech at Virginia. Tech could really screw up the ACC by getting a victory. It's in Virginia, but Virginia Tech could really screw this up. Don't sleep on Virginia Tech. Alabama is at Auburn Saturday night. Don't sleep on that game either. If Alabama loses and Vanderbilt wins, I'm putting Vandy in. Hands down. Auburn doesn't even have a head coach. Oh, well. Not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. Notre Dame is at Stanford, their last cupcake game of the year. Notre Dame's schedule this year. You take away those first two games, it ain't good. It is not good at all. Not good at all. All right, we got the college football rankings tonight. So there is college football. Let's go ahead and look at the NFL slate this week. And I really do want to go over something because I was talking to Big J last night. In fantasy, there are 2 weeks until the playoffs in almost every league. Every league starts the playoffs at week 15 because it's weeks 15, 16, and 17. So you stay out of the games where everybody could be resting players. That's how they've done it for years. It used to be 14, 15, 16, staying out of week 17. Now, this week, there are multiple fantasy matchups that could be decided by the end of Friday. Why? Because you have the Lions and Packers, the Chiefs and Cowboys, the Bengals and Ravens, and the Bears and the Eagles. That's why. Because everybody's going to play Mahomes, everybody's going to play Prescott, everybody's going to play all the receivers in that game, everybody's going to play Burrow. Jackson is now injured again with a toe injury. So you're going to play Chase. You're going to play Chase Brown. You're going to play Henry. There are a lot of people in those 4 games that are going to be on fantasy football lineups. And fantasy football is going to take a huge turn in those 4 games. But we open up with Detroit against Green Bay. Because I'm not going to be live tomorrow, I kind of got to give you my thoughts on the Thanksgiving Day games. Currently, Detroit is 2.5-point favorites over Green Bay. I think that's probably accurate. Probably win by a field goal. I don't trust the Packers. I will never trust Jordan Love. I'm sorry. He has never given me a reason to trust him in a big game. Not at all. Detroit knows they escaped the Giants. When you have a game like that, you then are able to have a really hard coaching game that they come out on fire. Jahmyr Gibbs is unstoppable. I like the defense for the Packers, but I really do believe it's going to be a fun day for Detroit on Thanksgiving. So I'm going to go with Detroit. Chiefs at the Cowboys. I picked the Cowboys last week, and all you guys called me crazy. All of you. Well, here's the reality. When they're home, there's just something about being home. It's that simple. There is something about being home, especially for them. And I really think at the end of the day, they can compete with Kansas City. If Rashee Rice is healthy, Cowboys don't stand a chance. I think the speed of Kansas City outdoes them pretty quick. The secondary is really bad for the Cowboys. But if Rashee Rice is out, don't sleep on the Cowboys. They could get the W. They could easily get the W. The Thursday night game on NBC is a really weird game. The Baltimore Ravens are favored by 7 points against the Bengals. Okay, am I missing something? Ja'Marr Chase, back. Joe Burrow, back. Lamar Jackson, another injury. What am I missing here? Why are the Ravens favored by 7 points? I don't get this. If you bet, take Cincinnati with the points. Take the +7. It's free. Take the +7. Lamar has a toe injury to go along with all the other injuries he's got. Like, they barely got by the Jets. I don't know. I'm taking Cincinnati, and I think Cincinnati could upset them. If Lamar goes out, Cincinnati will win that game. Cincinnati will win that game, and then it creates an absolute chaotic finish to the season the exact way we love it. Now, the Friday game, Philadelphia is favored by 7 over the Chicago Bears. I believe this is Vegas not trusting Caleb Williams against the Eagles' defense, and I understand that. But can I throw out something a little bit different? I don't trust the Eagles against the Bears' defense either. I understand they had a stinker against the Steelers. You get those from time to time, and you still got the W. That Bears defense had been very stout. And the Eagles are fighting. It's the holiday season. They're all bickering amongst themselves. The family, there's turmoil in the middle of it. Nick Sirianni has no control. The owners had to meet with A.J. Brown. Then A.J. Brown has an outstanding game, and they lose. Still think it's the most ironic thing. He has a fantastic game, and they lose. I would take the Bears plus 7. I don't know if the Bears can win, but I would take the Bears plus 7. I'd take the Bengals plus 7. Kansas City is only a 3-point favorite. I'd probably take that, but I think the Cowboys could win that game. And then obviously I got the Lions. So that is Thursday and Friday. And now let's look at some of the Sunday games, because the Sunday games, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. 49ers at the Browns. Don't sleep on Cleveland. San Francisco's already favored by 6. They just got done playing Monday Night Football. They're now going to go play in Cleveland in what is probably going to be 30-degree weather. Not a great idea. Watch for that game to be messy and ugly. The Jaguars go to Tennessee. Tennessee has played a little bit better. Little bit. But do they have enough to beat Jacksonville, who understands they need to keep winning? Doubt it. I highly doubt it. I think Jacksonville will probably be okay. They're favored by 6.5, maybe a little high. This is a game I don't understand. The Texans at the Colts. Somehow, I think Vegas may have been drinking one too many. Somehow the Colts are favored by 4.5. How is this not a 2.5-point line? Did you not just see on Thursday night what the number one defense in the NFL did to Josh freaking Allen? They get C.J. Stroud back. Their deep threats back. The Indianapolis Colts still don't have DeForest Buckner. What are we doing here? I said this last night. I said the Colts would split with the Texans at the beginning of the year. I said they'd split with the Jaguars at the beginning of the year with Daniel Jones starting, in the best case scenario. Here's the problem. The Colts were 8-2 coming out of their bye week. 7 games left. And there is a very high probability they go 3-4 down the stretch and go from 8-2 to 11-7 to finish the year. Ain't gonna be good. 11-6. Ain't gonna be good. It's not what you want. And Jacksonville is now only 1 game behind, waiting to pounce in the next game. The Colts got to play the Chiefs, the Texans, the Jaguars. Back to back to back. That ain't good. The Colts are going to be tired. That game against the Chiefs was a hard-hitting, fundamentally draining game. And you're telling me that the Colts, off of that game against Kansas City, and I love how the fans are like, shouldn't be a drop-down game, kind of expected to lose that at the beginning of the season, shouldn't be that big of a deal. Dude, you were 8-2 heading into a team that was 500 at the time. Yes, it's the Chiefs. They were 500. You were 8-2, fighting for the number one spot in the AFC. And now we're just going to be like, we expected to lose that game. Baloney. You can't just shove it off like that. That's not how this works. And the number one defense with a coach that understands pressure, when their backs are against the wall, the Texans always show up. They did last Thursday night, and they got this game against the Colts. It's in a dome. They've got the extra rest. I don't see it being a 4.5-point spread. I just don't. Texans are going to be closer than 4 and probably going to win the game. They've got the better defense. You stuff Jonathan Taylor, you make Daniel Jones beat you, and that's how you win. That's it. That's how you win. The Dolphins are home against the Saints. Probably a good win for the Dolphins. Saints on the road, don't really trust them. The Falcons are at the New York Jets. This is the chance for the Jets to win. It's going to be rainy. It's going to be wet. Kirk Cousins is probably going to be absolute garbage. It's going to be up to the running game for Atlanta. It's going to be up to Breece Hall for the Jets. Tyrod Taylor can run more than Kirk Cousins can. This could be an ugly field goal game, but it is in New York. Atlanta's favored by 2.5. This game, I know they're waiting. There is good news. Baker Mayfield shows only a sprain to his AC joint. But if he's out for this Cardinal game, listen, I love Teddy Bridgewater, but that offense right now needs Mayfield to just kind of be miraculous. It's not that great by itself. Arizona can beat him. Jacoby Brissett keeps putting up yards. And I really think that in a game like that, on the road, Tampa, 79-degree, beautiful weather, I like the Cardinals if Mayfield is out. The Rams are facing the Panthers. They're 10.5-point favorites. They should be. Rams defense right now, and especially since it's supposed to be raining in Carolina, oh, good gosh. The way that Rams defense is playing, I'm happy I have them in fantasy in multiple leagues because I am starting them 1,000%. The Minnesota Vikings are on the road against the Seahawks. Seahawks should be able to kind of roll over. Max Brosmer, I believe, is starting for the Vikings because J.J. McCarthy is in protocol. Bills at the Steelers. Huge game. Huge playoff implications because if the Bills lose, oh my gosh. Remember, if the Bills lose, the Texans have beaten the Bills and the Bills have beaten the Chiefs. And then here, the Steelers will have beaten the Bills. But the Bills beat the Ravens. Oh my gosh, the head-to-head becomes such a mess. It's great. Gotta love it. The Raiders play the Chargers. Chargers off of a bye. Raiders, it's a mess. I don't even know what to expect. I have no clue for that game. I don't really believe in the Chargers as far as being able to do much. Their offensive line is in shambles. I mean, Herbert's getting hit at too high of a rate. But obviously, I don't really trust the Raiders. So I don't know. The Broncos on Sunday Night Football. This would be a great game if both teams were 8-3. But they're not. Jayden Daniels is out. And Broncos are in Washington against that defense. The weather isn't going to affect them. And I really believe the Broncos are going to come out of the bye week ready to rock and roll. And then Monday Night Football. New York Football Giants should have Jackson Dart back, so watch out for that. Are on the road against the New England Patriots. And honestly, I'm really impressed with Drake May. 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He is currently, Drake May, currently the number one passing leader. He is the only current quarterback over 3,000 yards in the NFL. Mahomes is second, Prescott is third. Then you have Daniel Jones is fourth, and Stafford is fifth. So those are your top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. Your top 5 receivers, not really a surprise, except for one. Jackson Smith-Njigba already has 1,300 receiving yards. Guess who is second, though? George Pickens is now second in the NFL in receiving yards. He is over 1,000 yards for the year. Nacua is third. Fourth is Amon-Ra St. Brown. And fifth is Ja'Marr Chase, even with a game being suspended. Your rushing leaders: Jonathan Taylor first, Cook second, Gibbs third, Achane fourth from Miami, and Javonte Williams from Dallas. Hey, they got a running back. Don't know how, but they got a running back. He's got 896 yards. They may have a 1,000-yard rusher in Dallas. Oh my gosh. What a wild idea. All right. Your sack leaders in the NFL. I can't. This is just wild. Myles Garrett has played 11 football games this year. He has 18 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. Second place is Brian Burns from New York with 13 sacks. He has 5 sacks ahead of second. And then you got the twin ends from Houston, Hunter and Anderson at 11 and 10.5. And Micah Parsons currently has 10 sacks on the season. Rounding out the top 10, you've got Nick Bonito, Josh Sweat, Byron Young, Aiden Hutchinson, and Tuli Tuipulotu, the linebacker from the Chargers. Now, looking down, because I'm looking for some of the rookies, and you do got to go down a little bit. And I'm really not sure who's going to end up with the Defensive Rookie of the Year award. Jalen Walker has 5 sacks for Atlanta. And honestly, he's probably the best one. He has played really, really well. I'm not going to take that away from him. He has played very, very, very well. And the reality is with some of these guys, they may be moving next year. But those are your sack leaders, your tackle leaders: Jordan Brooks, Cedric Gray, Jack Campbell, Bobby Wagner, and Bobby Okereke. All of them over 100 total tackles. Jordan Brooks has 125. I play a defensive fantasy league. Having Jordan Brooks for tackles is freaking amazing. I mean, it is. It's freaking awesome. Having him is outstanding. Makes you feel so good. All right. There we go. Let's get out of here. Thanksgiving break. My kids are home the next 3 days. We'll try to go live. If I don't go live on Friday, I'll have a video for you, but hopefully I'll be able to go live. Do Hawks Pick 6, do the Hawks Locks, do a mini podcast, and then we'll kind of just go from there. We got a wild football weekend ahead. It's Thanksgiving. It is Thanksgiving. Want to close this out? If you've been watching for any length of time, you know I do appreciate the holidays a lot. July 4th, September 11th, which I count as a holiday because it was a big day for our country. But obviously Thanksgiving and then upcoming Christmas. But over the next 5 days, 4 or 5 days, we're going to have an opportunity to tell those we love how much we appreciate them. And from somebody who lost, my mom passed away from cancer, my Papa Bear, my grandfather, passed away from cancer. Don't ever skip a chance to tell somebody you appreciate them. It is set up for you. It's in the name, Thanksgiving. Tell somebody. Tell them you love them. Tell them you're thankful for them. Because you never know when you won't have that chance again. My mom wasn't sudden necessarily. It happened quick, but it wasn't sudden. My grandfather, though, was sudden in a sense. It came up on us, and it happened really fast. Never skip, never miss an opportunity to tell somebody you appreciate them. So from Hawk to all you that watch, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you so much for being with me. This is something that I love to do. Regardless of whether or not we meet my goals that I wanted for this podcast for the end of the year, I appreciate each and every one of you that watch. I appreciate all of you. Have an absolutely fantastic Thanksgiving weekend. Watch some football. Hang out with family. Hang out with friends. Tell somebody you appreciate them, though. Take that opportunity when it's given to you. From Hawk to you. For Sports Talk with Hawk, I'm out. And please have a blessed and happy Thanksgiving. See you Friday.